Good afternoon. This is Brielle. Now, I decided to dedicate some of my videos to activism because even though people like me who are transgender are becoming more visible, and some of us are on social media and YouTube, there's still a long way to go for us. I felt compelled to make this video for you and explain a few things, and other people may have explained it. Other people may have said almost the same things. Some people would say, Brielle, why are you going to beat a dead horse? Which is a terrible image because I absolutely love animals. Well, sometimes we have to because people are just not getting it yet. Now, this morning I went out, I ran some errands, had lunch. It's getting to the time of the day where the stubble on where my mustache would be is starting to come through. I deliberately left it on my face because I wanted to talk to you, and for those who relate, I know you do understand. But I wanted to explain something to some people. Being transgender, someone who's born in a body of a particular sex. Now, I can't speak for others. I only know the experience of being a transgender woman. I would imagine there's a similar situation for transgender men, but I cannot speak for them. But part of the reason that people like me don't gain acceptance, and I found it to be the biggest part, is people think it's a choice. People think you are making a conscious decision that, oh, one day I was a man, and you know what, I got this crazy idea in my head. You know what, I think I'd like to be a woman instead of a man. Well, I'm going to tell you, at least from my own experience, they could not be further from the truth. And I truly believe that this is the main reason why people hate us so much and discriminate against us. Because they believe that, especially religious people, but not, there are also some religious people who do accept people like me, who are quite nice. But a lot don't. And they believe that we are choosing to defy the will of God. And we are making ourselves into abominations. Well, that is completely untrue. Now, I will say when I talk about groups of people, I am not actually saying all people of this kind believe this, or all people of this kind are like that, because that is extreme ignorance. And I really don't like that very much. So I'm going to tell you a little about my story. When I was a young child, I would want to play with girls' toys. I would see little girls with Barbies and different things like that. And I would want to play with them, but at the time I didn't know what transgender was. I was born in the 70s. that word wasn't as prevalent as it is today, and pretty much occasionally I would hear that someone would have a sex change or a man would decide to become a woman. I didn't understand it because nobody was out there to teach me and show me what I was. I knew what I was always, but I just didn't have the words for it. Well, my family made me think it would be the worst thing in the world to be a girl. I had a parent who reiterated the fact that they were so glad that they had boys and not girls. Whenever I would pick up something or act a certain way, don't do that. You're acting like a girl. And it became a very bad thing to be feminine. So, as a child, I adopted boys' toys and boys' ways because to do otherwise would be to be disciplined or treated like a piece of garbage. Then, to make things more difficult in my own personal life, my parents joined a very strict religion, at least on my father's side, because my parents were divorced. And in this religion, anything that they thought was homosexual, because I didn't understand what I was at the time, was considered very, very bad. And they taught me that I would die forever because God did not approve of me. Well, I know there's many in my community who are religious, so I hope I am not offending you. This was just my own personal experience. Well, when I got older and I started to find myself, and I was on my own for the first time in my life, I started buying the clothes that I liked. At first, I wouldn't go in public with it. I was afraid. I was afraid of losing jobs. I was afraid of getting beat up. I was afraid of getting murdered. And that is a very serious thing because in the town next to where I live, there was a transgender woman who was beat to death by 3 men outside a grocery store with a brick just for having the courage to try to be the person who she really was. Well, so when I got out in the world, of course, I'm not what they would call passable. People would laugh. They would make jokes. They'd ask me if I was a drag queen. And I have nothing against drag queens, but there's another important distinction that people should need to learn. Now, a drag queen is someone who is a boy who performs as a woman. They may have some genuine feminine qualities, but for me, the performance my whole life was the opposite. For me, my whole life, I was a woman who had a man's body, who pretended they were a man my whole life. So I'm making this distinction that my act was to wear the mask of a boy because I was so scared of the bad things that would happen if I told people or showed them how I really was. But now, later in life, I finally have the confidence and the strength to love myself and to express myself as the woman that I am. Now, For years and years in relationships, I changed who I was to make who I was happy, because I was a very lonely person. Because when you have the depression of not being able to be who you truly are, you tend to latch on to anyone who would treat you a little bit better than your experiences have. And ultimately, no one could really care for you or love you unless you show them your true self, because if not, they are just caring for and loving a false image, and that will ultimately lead you, my transgender brothers and sisters out there, to complete depression and increase your dysphoria even more. Now, I am very fortunate because my wife right now, who I'm going to be with until my very last breath, loves me and accepts me for who I am, and has helped me gain a lot of confidence. But back to where I was going, because I'm rambling now. I tend to do that. Now, back to where I was going. I knew from the first time I could remember who I was and what I was. Just because someone can't express it doesn't mean they don't know who they are. It just means that the world is a cruel and scary place. Now, the people who believe that people like me are evil abominations, that we're servants of the devil and we want to corrupt everyone and make everyone just like we are, I'm going to tell you truly this day, I would not want another being in this universe to experience the sadness and depression that I have, having to fight my way out of my mask to be who I am. It's painful, it's heartbreaking, and it almost cost me my life a few times. And to the people out there who believe that I chose this, please do something intelligent for a change. Do some research. Listen to some people's true stories. And if you could hear how some of these people felt, and not be moved to tears, if you could still be filled with hatred for someone and believe that a loving God who created us, as I've been told, in God's image, would hate and condemn someone like me, if you truly have that in your heart, I am going to tell you that you truly are an evil person. And this love you speak of, this loving God and the loving ways of this God, I truly don't believe that you're a person that understands that. I'm saying this because it needed to be said, because once a person understands that this is not a choice, I believe some of the barriers between the people like me and other people out there will truly fall down, and there will be a greater understanding and acceptance. I know I rambled on a bit, and I'm going to replay this and watch this and not post it if I believe I've rambled too much. But I've had some feelings I needed to get off my chest. I wanted to share. So, till again, blessings. And if you are truly one of the evil people that would wish someone like me to be dead, that would wish for a child to be brought to suicide rather than accept, their true self in a well of depression, then I curse you to your very soul because you are evil. But I do not want to end on a malicious note. So I will also hope and pray to my own gods, who I believe, in my view, it's all the same. But I will pray in my own way that your hearts will be opened and there'll be less sadness among my brothers and sisters.